Imagine holding in your hand a small piece of metal that at first glance seems almost insignificant. Just a copper-plated steel coin bearing the humble value of 10 centimo. Yet behind this 2009 issue of the Philippine 10 centimo lies a story that stretches across centuries of colonial history, national identity, economic change, and the evolution of the very symbols that represent the Filipino people. This is not just a coin. It is a living document of the nation's journey, a silent witness to shifts in leadership, economic struggles, reforms in currency systems, and the continuing dialogue between the past and the present. And to truly appreciate this coin, we must travel through time beginning with the origins of the Sentimo itself before reaching the events that shaped the year 2009, when this small coin was minted and released into circulation. The Sentimo, as a denomination, is rooted in the broader concept of fractional currency, its name itself coming from the Spanish, Sentimo, which denotes 1/100th of a peso, a legacy of centuries under Spanish rule when the islands were tied directly into the economic and monetary networks of a global empire. When Spain introduced its monetary system, the peso became the standard unit, and the centavo, later adapted as centimo in the Filipino language, represented its fractional part for everyday transactions. The centimo was essential because it allowed people to purchase small quantities of goods in markets that operated on a scale where every single unit of value mattered over time. The fractional coin evolved from Spanish colonial coinage to the coins introduced by the Americans during their occupation of the Philippines the early 20th century. Saw the issue of centavo coins that bore strong American iconography alongside Filipino symbols, establishing a mixed visual language of identity and authority. As independence came in 1946, the Philippines moved toward reasserting its national character in currency design, but it was not until the 1960s and 1970s that we see a stronger emphasis on Filipino heroes, indigenous imagery, and cultural motifs finding their way onto coins. The Sentimo became an arena where national pride could be expressed. Even in its smallest denominations by the late 20th century, changes in the economy, inflation, and shifts in purchasing power affected the perception and use of small denominations, including the 10 centimo during the Marcos-era coinage design, was centralized under the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, which was tasked with modernizing the currency system and keeping it aligned with the needs of the growing economy. The 2009 10 centimo belongs to the BSP coin series, which began circulating. In 1995, this series was characterized by its uniform use of copper-plated steel for lower denominations and nickel-plated steel for higher denominations. The 10 centimo coin was small, lightweight, and coppery in appearance, featuring on its obverse the profile of Apolinario Mabini, known as the Sublime Paralytic, and the brains of the revolution. Mabini was chosen because of his intellectual contributions to the Philippine Revolution and his role in shaping the principles of governance for the new nation. His presence on the coin reflects a deliberate attempt by the Bangko Sentral to embed historical memory into everyday transactions. The reverse of the coin bore the logo of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas itself, an emblem that reinforced the authority of the central bank as the guarantor of the nation's monetary stability. The year 2009 holds particular significance in Philippine coinage history. It was a time when the nation was preparing for yet another redesign of its coins and banknotes, which would eventually culminate in the issuance of the new generation currency series in 2010 and 2011. As such, the 2009 issue of the 10 centimo coin represents one of the final years of the BSP coin series before it was phased out in favor of newer designs. Collectors today recognize the 2009 coin as both common in circulation and transitional in historical value, because it stands at the crossroads between two distinct eras of Philippine currency design. To understand Why the 10 centimo still mattered in 2009, despite inflation reducing its purchasing power. We need to examine the social and economic functions of such small denominations in Philippine life, in marketplaces, jeepney fares, and rural economies. Every coin mattered. The 10 centimo, while small, still contributed to exact change, and its absence could complicate daily commerce beyond its monetary use. However, the coin symbolized inclusivity in the economy, ensuring that all values, no matter how small, were represented in physical form. Furthermore, the continued minting of such coins reflected the BSP's mandate to provide a full range of denominations, even if some saw less frequent use, by tracing the design, the production, and the circulation of the 2009 10 centimo. We begin to see the layers of meaning that attach to what appears to be a simple coin. It is a link to the revolutionary ideals of Mabini, a reflection of the authority of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, a continuation of the Sentimo denomination rooted in centuries of colonial and post-colonial history, and finally a marker of the transition toward a new generation of currency designs that would soon follow for collectors, numismatists, and historians. The 2009 10 Sentimo serves as a bridge, a small copper coin that tells the story of a nation finding balance between past and future. And so, as we dive deeper into its history over the course of this long exploration, we will not only examine the technical details of its minting, its physical specifications, and its role in commerce, but also the broader historical narrative of the Philippines itself. Through this coin, we discover how even the smallest denomination can carry within it the weight of a nation's identity, resilience, and transformation, a story that deserves hours of attention and reflection. Because within this 10 centimo of 2009 is the voice of the Filipino people echoed in copper, steel, and memory to continue expanding the story of the 2009 10 centimo coin. We must place it within the broader context of Philippine monetary history, because only by looking at the long timeline of coinage in the country can we understand why such a small denomination continues to carry importance. Even in the modern era, the coin itself is not simply a tool for exchange. It is a reflection of the nation's values, the political leadership of its time, the economic circumstances that shaped daily life, and the decisions made by institutions tasked with safeguarding the economy. The design of the 2009 10 centimo is straightforward, yet layered with meaning. On the obverse, we see the bust of Apolinario Mabini, his face turned slightly to the side, his expression both solemn and resolute. His inclusion on the coin is not accidental, because Mabini is not only a historical figure, but a symbol of intellect, resilience, and the fight for national sovereignty. He was born in Tanawan, Batangas in 1864, his early life marked by poverty and hardship. Despite these limitations, he pursued education with remarkable determination, eventually becoming one of the most brilliant minds of his generation. Stricken by polio at the age of 30, Mabini lost the use of his legs, yet this did not prevent him from contributing to the revolutionary movement. His writings, his counsel, and his moral authority shaped the government of the First Philippine Republic under Emilio Aguinaldo. He argued for principles of liberty, equality, and justice. He dreamed of a nation where leadership was not based on privilege or wealth, but on merit and service. His image on the coin is therefore a powerful reminder to every Filipino that the strength of the nation lies not in physical power alone, but in the force of wisdom and conviction. Turning the coin over to its reverse side, we find the official seal of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, the institution established in 1993 to replace the old Central Bank of the Philippines. The BSP was designed to be independent and tasked with ensuring monetary stability, safeguarding the value of the peso, and guiding the nation's financial system through turbulent times. The seal itself on the coin is a visual representation of trust and authority. It signals to every holder of the coin that behind this small piece of copper-plated steel stands the entire machinery of the state, ensuring its legitimacy and value. By the year 2009, the Philippine economy was in a stage of transition, The global, financial crisis of 2008 had rippled across the world, and while the Philippines was less severely affected than other nations, it still faced challenges such as rising unemployment, increasing costs of goods, and the continuing struggle to stabilize. The peso in such a climate, the 10 Sentimo coin, though small, had symbolic value because it embodied the idea of economic inclusiveness. Even the smallest denomination continued to circulate, ensuring that commerce was possible at every level of society.